Really excited to have you all jump into some of the trends we have this year. But we'll tie all of this together with some of the data that we're finding here. So I think there were a lot of themes that popped up in 2025, and I think those things will be really indicative of what we commit to in 2026. We want to showcase 8 of those, and our research team has dove into those and pulled up some great visuals that we can share out. But let me tell you a little bit more about Handshake's network and how we use this research. We combine through platform data and survey data everything that happens on the network so that we can kind of help inform all stakeholders about this. This might be 20 million plus students and alum, employers, job descriptions, and schools, how they're all interacting across this network. This year, we launched reports, which you can check out, and we'll share a link at the end. We launched reports on the state of internships in hiring right now, which I know a lot of folks really resonated with. We also looked a lot into AI in the class of 2026. This has been a really kind of a year of transition and a year in which a lot of the technology has emerged at the forefront for both good, like we saw a lot of AI tools and efficiency, and in some cases a little nerve-wracking. For the class of 2026, sentiment is very pessimistic. It's something with the job market, and there's a lot of uncertainty here that employers seem to be helping students navigate a little bit. So we want to showcase some of these stats off. Please feel free to add questions in the chat, use the question and answer function. But first, we'll go with the top trending majors for the class of 2026. So on Handshake, we found that accounting and engineering majors are really trending over the class of 2025. You'll see here that there's growth in accounting around 25% year over year. Along with that, areas like electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, and data science. So these are majors, notably all STEM majors, that have saw a lot of traction on the platform. And I think that's pretty good news because we know for accounting, the field of accounting has seen a lot of a lower inventory and lower CPA exam rates. So the fact that there are higher inventory for accounting is good news. On the flip side, a lot of AI conversation has impacted the field of data science. So we're seeing a lot of nervousness around that. But these were the top trending majors of 2026. In the next slide, we'll see how this relates to outreach. So a lot of employers using Handshake. We found that especially to business, education, and health majors, business majors received nearly 5% of all targeted employer messaging in 2025, which is up from last year. As well, communication, education, and public health majors saw increased outreach relative to last year, while computer science and finance majors saw actually a decline. So notably related to things like the CS hiring cool down, it's something that we're really tracking closely there. All right. And so some good news generally, we found that entry-level salaries have actually increased in virtually all states on the Handshake network. The median salary for full-time jobs on Handshake rose to $67,500 in 2025. That was up $2,500 from last year. And this was consistent across the US. So while the overall job inventory has decreased, we found that the median salary across jobs have increased. And it's something that's good news because Gen Z has higher salary expectations, but also this growth in wages on Handshake have actually outpaced inflation overall. So that is some good news. And Madison, the question of, is this for full-time entry-level roles? Yes, we looked exclusively at full-time roles on the network. An additional piece here is for job location trends. So you'll see here on the chart on the left side was growth in searches for major cities on Handshake. So you'll see on the left side, a lot of California cities have regained search traffic, while on the right side, cities in Texas and Denver have actually decreased year over year. This is pretty notable, and I think it relates to a lot of housing and cost of living trends. California has seen a tech rebound, a bit of hiring that has turned back up related to the AI boom. So we're seeing a lot of those cities around the Bay Area and in California boost up from what was a relatively low few years. On the other hand, places like Austin, Dallas, and Houston are seeing declines in searches. And it's something that we know post COVID and around that time when there was a remote kind of movement to those cities, the cost of living has since gone up and so has rent. And similarly, the biggest loser here was Denver, which has saw a decline and similarly has experiences with rising rents, etc. Okay, next slide. Great. And then one big piece that we really like to track on is the Handshake feed. So content that students are posting from different majors on the feed. Business majors actually accounted for a quarter of all undergraduate feed posts, and some of the great trends we saw this year, Justin will be talking about in a few. But things around internship season and excitement around graduation and back to school, business majors made up a quarter of those postings. Interestingly, computer science, communication, and arts and design students also contributed. And notably, arts and design students and communication students, they contribute around 10% of posts each, but that was double their overall share on the network. So they're disproportionately posting on Handshake, which if you think about it, if you're a comm student or you're an art and design student, I think you have a lot of really cool content to share. So definitely check that out, but also just congratulations to our arts and communication students. Okay. Another piece here is around salary transparency. So 77% of full-time jobs on Handshake included salary information in 2025, which is up from 73%. So that's a 4 percentage point increase in 2024. Meanwhile, and this is really good news for a lot of advocates that are really pushing for paid internships, but internships on Handshake in 2025 reached 81%, which is actually 11 percentage points up from the previous year. So this reflects increasing recognition of pay transparency. And I see a number of people in the chat talking about laws in Massachusetts. It's actually a reflection of the fact that depending on if you're counting at the city, region, or state level, around 14 states have instituted salary transparency laws. And you see many employers across the board, rather than have to deal with compliance at different levels, have just said, okay, we will post this median salary expectations or bands of salary expectations. So that is a reflection of state laws, but it's also something that benefits Gen Z. 85% of Gen Z say they wouldn't apply to a job if it doesn't have a listed salary. So it's a huge opportunity if you're an employer, and it's a huge opportunity to just kind of release this transparency, which we now see more than 3/4 of full-time jobs do. Great. And getting real tactical, we found that networking events specifically captured student interest. If you look at the y-axis, you'll see the average attendees for each event type. And then on the x-axis, the average registrants. So if you see up and to the right, and you'll see networking there, that big bubble, that had both a larger number of average registrants and also attendees. So if you're really thinking about how to engage students and the best way to do this, we found a huge opportunity here is around networking events and often at career fairs and pieces like that. While speaker panels have a smaller overall share of these events, but really see a high number of average registrants and a high number of attendees. Info sessions, on the other hand, saw a high number of registrants, but actually a lower share of those average attendees. So this is all going to be on a report that we'll be sharing out that you can check out right now. But definitely dive in as you're looking toward 2026 and thinking about the kind of events you're running to drive engagement. Definitely check it out. Cool. And then the final trend that we'll showcase here is around remote job availability. So the share of remote jobs now represents around 5% of full-time postings on Handshake. This is leveled out since a number of changes post 2020. This was also the year of the return to office, many offices instituting policies that brought people back, but we're still seeing a high share of hybrid work. So while students are definitely filtering for it, we found that 12% of students filtered exclusively for remote roles. We also know that Gen Z in general, as they're starting their career, really do want an opportunity to meet folks in the office and work in a collaborative environment. So it's definitely something that we're continuing to track here. So I think we have around 7 minutes here. I do want to share a little bit of a bonus, but before we do that, is there any questions in the Q&A or the chat? Feel free to let me know. I'm seeing a lot of excitement around career fairs and some commentary on return to office, but feel free to drop any questions that you have here. But until then, and I don't know. Will you be sharing out these slides? We will. This will be in Goldcast. Is there a category for regarding majors of jobs? Is there a category for government and public service? And that is definitely something worth calling out. This year, we published reporting on the drop in opportunities around federal and federal government jobs, though there has been an increase in state and local applications of students toward those jobs. So it's definitely something we're watching a lot because that has been a huge event this year that I think really has affected the early talent landscape. And we'll be sharing these slides. Data. And next year, we'll be publishing a lot of industry level deep dives as well. So questions around data for agriculture or trades, we'll be diving into. We know that students are saying increasingly they're seeking stability. Some believe it's in the trades, though we're not seeing that so much on the platform. Okay, I'm seeing, are these networking sessions being planned by the school or employer? What if you are a smaller size company? Definitely those networking events are definitely led by schools. So I think engaging and partnering with schools would result in a high both registration and attendance rate. So that is definitely something to call out there. And I'm seeing Charles having a great comment on info sessions usually being open to everyone. Any insight on how the silver tsunami is affecting school majors? Yes, I think it's a great question. It's something that you can see in our latest report in the class of 2026. Actually, as students, we found that the highest levels of pessimism right now are with both humanities majors and with computer science majors, which is really interesting that there's kind of two majors that folks normally don't associate a ton with each other. But the ones with the lowest share of pessimism for the career and job market are those that are working with the silver tsunami, aka public health majors, medical professionals. These have the lowest rates of pessimism right now. And I think it's because there is a large demand for them. And it's something we see on Handshake as well. Yeah, similar question. Do you have any data on nursing? That is also something that kind of falls in that category. Great. Well, I've loved the engagement today. This has been a really great conversation. On the next slide, we'll share out a link that can connect you with the 2026 hiring trends. So definitely check that out. It's full of these visuals and a little bit more commentary. So thank you all for that. And another piece here is, and George, I'll address this one question because we have another minute. Looking across these 8 trends, which one do you think most employers are overreacting to, and which one do you think seriously underreacting to when it comes to Gen Z hiring? Oof, George, you're leaving with the really exciting big picture question. Well, I think it's hard to know because employers, I wouldn't say employers are overreacting in one way or the other. It really is dependent on your industry, and I think you all know that pretty well. I do think the conversation on AI is something we're going to continue tracking, but it's also one that has the largest risk of dropping nuance out. I think there is a lot of impacts that we're seeing now, whether it be students identifying increasingly to 2, 3x, 4x different student majors identifying AI skills in their resume. I think one big piece that I think employers are adequately reacting to is that like Gen Z is really by far the generation and the group that has the most skill with consumer grade generative AI right now. And so there is a lot of opportunity there. I also think we're in a situation where it's moving so quickly where a lot of employers are still wrapping their heads around how to utilize AI in their work environment and how digital transformation is happening. So I think it's not overreacting, but I think it's a huge opportunity that we're seeing both a cohort of students that are really nervous about the future, but also they have the largest skill set when it comes to understanding and kind of adapting to an AI-driven economy. And we have employers that know they want to digitally transform and be innovative. So I think a lot of you that are working and recruiting this new generation of talent are going to have to play that role of translating that between organizations, but a new generation of students as well. So not so much an overreact here, but it's definitely an opportunity. Great, and I like that. People skills versus tech skills. I think that's a really interesting way to put it. Okay, so we'll be transitioning now into the next session. Definitely check out the 2026 Hiring Trends Report. But also your feedback is really important to us. So please take a minute to complete a survey that will be popping up on the screen shortly.